Hello, guys, and welcome to the FPL Duo. So here we are again, guys, for the Kneejerk reaction, looking ahead to Gameweek 2, but also recapping how far Gameweek 1 has done. So without further ado, guys, obviously Huss is not present here, but he will be back very soon in our stream. So it'll just be me showing my current team and how it's done so far through Gameweek 1. Obviously, it's not over yet, but I won't be available Sunday to review the rest of the matches and also on Monday onwards. So I will do my Kneejerk reaction a little bit early in this game week. So before we get into this, obviously, stream, though, make sure you give this video a like, leave a comment if you wish, and subscribe for more. Now, this game week has been a bit of a mixed bag of fortune and misfortune. But obviously, let's get into it. So obviously, with goalkeepers, Flecken, he plays Crystal Palace. I believe it's either tomorrow or Monday. So moving on to the back three, that's the same with Pedro Porro, his teammate. He's got Leicester away. I believe that's a Monday fixture. And let's move on to the players that have actually played football. So Kwanzaa, bit of an annoying one because he only got 1 point, despite Liverpool keeping a clean sheet, which I expected they would against Ipswich. I mean, the first half for Liverpool wasn't really that exciting. It was quite boring. I did think Liverpool were struggling to get a rhythm going, and Ipswich actually did pretty well to hold off Liverpool in that first half. And then it sort of changed, and Liverpool went on the front foot, in the second half. But unfortunately, after the first half ended, and as soon as the second half kicked off, Kwanzaa was nowhere to be seen. There was a substitution for Kanate, and turns out when obviously the manager was asked, was this down to injury or tactical? It was a tactical substitution, so that meant Kwanzaa did miss out on his clean sheet for Liverpool, which is very annoying because I did have Van Dijk there before the deadline stream ended, so I lost out on a clean sheet there in terms of Liverpool, but it wasn't to be. I guess it's a bit of misfortune because we never saw that coming, if I'm honest. But yeah, that's something to look out for, I guess, in the near future. Moving on to the last defender, obviously that's Dan Burn with his 5 points. It is a bit weird, that fixture. It was quite a feisty one between Southampton and Newcastle. It was a bit annoying that Shaw got that red card during that game, which I feel like did affect Newcastle's performance and result at the end of that game because it only ended 1-0, considering Newcastle only had 10 men, but still they still managed to win just about over Southampton. But I feel like that red card did affect the whole game entirely when Shaw got sent off in that. But it was a very, very hands-on game between the two teams. But yeah, Dan Burn gets his obviously clean sheet. I think he did get a yellow card on top of that. We'll double check that actually if he did or not. Yeah, he did get a yellow card. So yeah, it was a point taken off of that yellow card, but a clean sheet regardless. Moving on to the midfield. So this is where it gets a bit more interesting because all my midfielders have played so far in this game week 1. Let's start off with Saka. Obviously, he was very, very good, as I expected him to be in that first fixture against Wolves. Arsenal winning comfortably 2-0. Again, I saw a clean sheet there, even though I don't have any Arsenal defenders. I did want to include one attacker, and the main man, Saka, didn't fail to impress. So, yeah, he got a 12-pointer. He scored a goal. He assisted Kai Havertz's goal, got a clean sheet. He did get a yellow card, but he did get a bonus 2 points, I believe, or bonus 1 in that sense. Obviously, it's not updated, so the bonus system, I'm not too sure on, but I believe it's a bonus 1 or 2 that Saka got on top of the rest of his turns. So it's a nice double haul to start off game week 1 from the Arsenal asset. Moving on, a little bit of misfortune here because Bruno Fernandes, I wasn't really happy with Man United, if I'm honest. I was expecting much more. It feels like the same Man United I watched last season, where it was just There was no excitement. There was no tempo to the game. It was flat. There wasn't any connections whatsoever in the attack, the midfield, or I think the defense again was pretty much the best attribute in that team. I think the midfield and the attack was a bit, I don't know, it wasn't right. I mean, until Xerxes came on and changed the game a bit, obviously scoring that very late goal in that Man United game against Fulham. But apart from that, wasn't really it wasn't really it was very boring. I think that game. I think Man United got really fortunate to obviously win that game at the end, very late on, and they can't keep doing that each game. They got to get some goals early on and not rely obviously on a late winner. But yeah, Bruno Fernandes only gets the 3 points minutes he played and just a clean sheet point, so no returns from him. Even though he had 2 good chances to score, he didn't really have his shooting boots on. Let's move on to Liverpool assets though, because this is a bit more fortune. Because I was watching the Liverpool game, and yeah, the first half it wasn't really much to talk about, but when the second half kicked off, it was a lot more exciting. Diego Jota getting his 8-pointer, getting the goal, and yeah, he scored a goal with the 8-pointer, obviously assisted by Salah, and he got the clean sheet point too. I was worried that he was going to be taken off soon before that, because the substitutions were warming up on the bench, and I thought by that moment Josh Tawil was going to blank, but fortunately Liverpool did turn up and Jota did get the goal, which he could have had 2 goals if honest. He had a nice header right in front of the goal, about 2 yards or 4 yards away from it, and managed to miss an open goal sitter pretty much for him. But I'm very thankful he did score the 1 goal for me. And obviously moving on to his teammate Mo Salah. I mean, again, he does impress with another massive double haul game week, 13 points. I do like his new haircut. That's quite awesome compared to his massive afro he originally had last season. But yeah, he scored the goal, got an assist, and a clean sheet on top of that as well. So he had a very successful match day 1. So yeah, very happy to own Salah. I think last season I went without him to start off with, so I'm quite happy to have started with him this game week, especially with the fixture he had against Ipswich, which in the end Liverpool won 2-0. It could have been possibly more than that. It could have been 5 or 6, but I'm liking the look of Liverpool so far this season. So moving on to the last player, and that is Anthony Gordon. And again, because of that Shaw red card, it did affect that attack. It was very tough for Newcastle to get forward when obviously Shaw got sent off. So yeah, Gordon only got the 3 points. Not really much to say. He did get substituted off as well around the 70-minute mark, so he didn't play the full 90 minutes. But again, that's affected by the fact that they only had 10 men. So I think they wanted to go a bit more defensive near the end and hold off against Southampton and get those 3 points. So let's move on to the front 2. So obviously Solanke plays Monday night against Leicester, so we have to wait and see what happens with him. So let's talk a bit about the captains. So Isaac got me 10 points. The only assisted Joe Linton's goal in that Newcastle game, where they only scored and they won 1-0 against Southampton. So yeah, again, it was a bit flat. I was expecting much more from Isaac, but again, that the 10 men issue, I think, affected their performance in that game. I feel like it could have been 3 or 4 for Newcastle if they had a starting 11 through the whole 90 minutes. So yeah, I think because of that, I'm quite fortunate though. Isaac did manage to get an attack return, not one at all, especially when he was captained a lot by a lot of us in the team. So yeah, 10-pointer for him for the captaincy is not bad, I guess. Let's quickly move on to the bench. So Valdi Marson, he doesn't play yet. He, I believe, plays tomorrow, Sunday football. Muniz does blank in that Man United game. So does Robertson. Obviously, the clean sheet was white for him. And Leif Davies for Ipswich, obviously played against Liverpool and only managed to get the 1 point. I did like the look of Davies in parts of that game, especially his attacking threat. which is why I obviously have in my team, just so when they have a nicer fixture, Ipswich, I might be willing to play him and rotate him with another defender. But overall, it has been. I feel like it's been an average game week so far for obviously a game week 1. 55 points, not so bad. My overall rank is around 1.2 million. So again, it's not. It's still a long way to go. Obviously, through game week 1, it's not over yet. I've still got Solanke, Pedro Porro, and Flecken to play still. So yeah, I've got 3 to play left, and that can all change. Obviously, there's no green or red arrow because this is our first official rank, but I'm liking the looks of where I am at the moment, and yeah, quite happy with how Game Week 1 has gone so far. A few blanks and here and there, but there has been some good double haul returns from some of the players in my team. But before I move on to what my Game Week 2 team looks like, I will go through some of your comments in the chat to see how well you guys have done and what your views are on Game Week 1. So let's start off with Joseph. So you have 52 points, Haaland and Solanke to play, average, I think. Yeah, it has been average game week, if I'm honest. It's some of the matches haven't been that exciting to watch. I think the West Ham and Aston Villa one has been the most exciting one I've seen so far in terms of end to end. Obviously, a lot of drama in between as well. So yeah, apart from that, the matches have been a bit lacking and not many goals, if I'm honest. In some games, only 1 or 2 here and there from teams. Comment from Sol said the boys are back. Yeah, we're back in FPL full swing. Huss will be back very shortly as well to join me in these streams for fantasy football, and hopefully we get to see his team very shortly. Got a comment from James. Jordan, did you enjoy the Man United game yesterday? I was gutted when Garnacho was benched, buzzing when he came on and got an assist, then gutted again when he missed that sitter he could have pulled. Yeah, that I can't believe Garnacho missed that, if I'm honest. It was pretty much an open goal. He only needs to tap the ball in, and he somehow scuffs the ball over his foot and just missed. It kind of looked like it was intentional, but I don't want to say it was intentional because obviously he wants to score. But yeah, it was quite a funny miss, if I'm honest, and I think it was more harder to miss that ball than it was to score it, especially in the position he was in, especially when Rashford squared it across to him, and all he had to do was tap it in. But if I'm honest, James, I didn't really enjoy the Man United game because they didn't play like they did against Man City in the Community Shield, which that's why I'm quite annoyed about, because they play differently when they play in the Premier League, but when they're playing against a big team, it's completely different. So yeah, it's a weird one, but I'm glad Xerxes came on, our new signing, and scored. So I think that was the most exciting part of the game, was watching him score his first goal in his debut. And also, should we be worrying about Kwanzaa long term, or will he start and reach 16 minutes game week 2? Yeah, that's the end. That's the thing as well. I'm not sure about Kwanzaa, because especially when that was a tactical change by the Liverpool manager, that does put a bit of concern into me now that Kwanzaa's not nailed to start and reach 60 minutes, especially in game week 1 where he didn't. And obviously Konate came on. So yeah, that is one thing to worry about. I did anticipate this happening though, just in case it did, especially with Burn as well. I do have a backup defender, but obviously we'll talk about that more when I show my Game Week 2 team, James. Matson looks like a brilliant replacement for Kwanzaa, same price, I think. Yeah, I think he is the same price. Let me just check if he is 4.5. Mr. Matson, yeah, he did play really well coming on to the. Well, actually, Matson, he's 5 million, James. So yeah, he's 0.5 more expensive than Kwanzaa. So yeah, a little bit more pricey, but I think still worth it. Emma Smith Rowe trolled us, but no way I'm removing him before game week 3. I thought he played really well, Emma Smith Rowe. I was kind of surprised he went off, but again, he might not be a player that can play the full 90 minutes, especially with his injury record with Arsenal. I don't think the manager wants to push him too much yet, sort of break him in easy. But I did like the way he played for Fulham throughout that game. So yeah, a big signing I think for Fulham as well. James says, still don't think I'm going for Saka for the next few game weeks. I stand by my decision on your advice, Jordan, to go with Fernandes and Koeman over Saka and Rodgers. Yeah, I mean, the Saka one's an interesting one because of obviously the combination you had that I said to go with Fernandes and Nkunku. I still think at this moment Fernandes and Nkunku could deliver. I mean, Nkunku does play Man City, so we still have to wait and see what he does. So bear in mind, James, there's still some decisions to make, and obviously you've still got some players to obviously get their Gameweek 1 fixtures underway. So fingers crossed, Nkunku can deliver for you, make up for that advice I give you on that. Michael says, surely Hall keeps his place with Shaw red card. Yeah, I mean, because that is a straight red card, so he is suspended, I believe, for 3 matches. So yeah, it looks like Hall is pretty much nailed until Shaw returns, and then it becomes a debate whether his place is solid or not there. James, it sounds like you've watched every game this weekend. I've watched as many as I could actually, because it's game week 1, and you kind of want to see what teams are like from the very bounce. But it has been a bit flat, if I'm honest. None of the matches I've watched were exciting. I think the Aston Villa and West Ham one, like I said, was the most exciting one to see. But yeah, apart from that, I mean, Liverpool one was good second half, but there hasn't been that many goals in game week 1 that I expected there to be. But it is the start of the season, and players are getting into the groove and new signings and whatnot. So there is a bit of a slow start, I guess. Michael says, is Bailey still a keep though? Yeah, I think he still is. I like the way Aston Villa were playing today. I think it was a bit unfortunate, obviously, from Ollie Watkins not getting on the score sheet. Again, he didn't play a single minute of obviously pre-season training. So yeah, he kind of looked a bit flat in that sense. But yeah, I think Bailey's still a keep. Hold on to him, I think, and see what he does in his next fixture that Aston Villa do have. So you don't want to get rid of him and he then gets something out of the next fixture, because I like the way Aston Villa does play. Even though just about won against West Ham, I like their overall attack that they can provide. But yeah, of course, they do have Arsenal next. So whether you want to play Bailey for that or not, I'd probably see, because it is going to be a tough game against Arsenal. So I'll probably still keep Bailey, but have him on the bench and swap him out for another midfielder that has a better fixture. The bench players, the points count. No, perfume. They don't count unless I'm bench boosting. Then they will, but that's only for bench boost. Evening down the man. 86 points for me with Guardiola and Eze to go. Wow, 86 points down there. That's very good for obviously game week 1. You must be in the top, possibly the top 1K or even top 100 of that. Good work. Yeah, you must have a return in from every player in your team. So that's a very good start. Dan, well done. Edeka, I got 52 points. Captain Salah fuming with Bruno. Apologies for hyping him up so much. No, don't apologize, Edeka. I could have easily not gone with obviously the decisions you guys mentioned in the chat. That is solely on my fault for going Fernandes over Eze. I mean, it's that hindsight, because Fernandes did have 2 good chances to score. He just didn't have his shooting boots on during that game, and yeah, I think it was a bit unfortunate. But again, the Man United, I just don't like the look of them still. They just look like the old Man United I saw last season. So I'm hoping that changes as the game weeks come along for them. But they do have Brighton next, so that'll be another good test for them. And we've got Sol, he's got 50 points, and still got Palmer, Son, Munoz, Flecken to play. Yeah, that's really good. Still got a few players left to go, and you've got 50 points. So yeah, I think like the average at the moment is around 50 points bracket around there. Anything between that and above is really good. Does Salah have 11 or 13 points? He has 13 points speedy. It's because if you're looking at it on the website on Fantasy, it's because their bonus point system hasn't updated yet. So he does have 13. I'll just double check that. So I'm not mistaken by that, but I believe he is on 13 points. It's just because the bonus points haven't been added yet. Yeah, he's on 11 currently, but he will have 2 more points coming, which will make it 13. It's just because fantasy just take a while to update. Got a comment from Animations. Welcome. On Kwanzaa, I may hold and see what happens in Game Week 2, but maybe just go early and transfer him out before the price drop for another 4.5. Yeah, I will talk about this with my Game Week 2 plans because I don't think I'm going to use the transfers to take him out. I've got something else planned in mind for that Game Week 2 for Kwanzaa, which is just still waiting to see with him. But I don't think I'll be transferring him out just to see what happens, what the plan is for him. Saul says thoughts on my team of Flecken, Robertson, Trent, Munoz, Salah, Saka, Palmer, Son, Ahmad, Meniz, and Isak. I feel that's a very good team. A lot of the players I have as well in that, like Flecken. Obviously, we'll have to see what he does against Crystal Palace tomorrow. Robinson is going to be good for game week 2 and 3 when he has back-to-back newly promoted teams, which could bring possibly a clean sheet, maybe back-to-back for him. He does show a lot of attack and threat as well, like he showed it against Man United too, playing really forward and possibly getting assists as well. Trent, I believe he got a 9-pointer today, which I'm pretty gutted about because I did want Trent, but I couldn't afford him. Munoz plays obviously against Brentford tomorrow. Is to wait and see for him, but I feel like he's a good pick at his price. Salah, there's no questioning Salah. He's perfect in any team. Saka as well. Palmer have to wait and see against Man City because that is a tough one. And Son is interesting too, how that works out for the match on Monday when he plays against Leicester because the new signing Solanke, which is like a Harry Kane. We have to see what their relationship is between Son and Solanke now. And Ahmad. I'm not sure about Ahmad though. His minutes are limited. I mean, he did come off in that fixture against Fulham, so I'm not sure about him. Meniz and Isak though, perfect ones I think for the team. I think Ahmad is the only one that I would be concerned about, but the rest are completely fine. So, and James says, hats off to Jordan for picking Davies as your fifth defender and not Barco. People will panic sell him and his price will drop after his benching. Yeah, cheers, James. I just thought because of Davies, obviously in this championship football, he did get a lot of assists and he has got a lot of attacking threats. So he plays against, for example, Southampton or Leicester. There's possibilities of him getting maybe a clean sheet when attack return in that. And he's cheap as well, 4.5. And I know I could have gone for Barco, and obviously that didn't quite work out for people because there was the benching. But yeah, it's something to keep in mind. I think hindsight for your bench players just to see who's nailed and who isn't for each obviously team. Michael says Bailey could have put one in an empty net, but he hit the post. Yeah, this is a good point actually because Bailey went on his own literally up front. Went past Areola, and then at the final moments when he went to obviously slice it in, it was a tough angle if I'm honest, but I feel like the defender did get a little touch on it to make it hit the post. Otherwise, that might have just slid in into the goal. So I think that defender did get a vital touch on that deflected ball for it to hit the post. But I think Bailey is unfortunate there. And Dynamo's at 7.5k, but that doesn't mean much. Yeah, it's still early days, but it is a good start, I think, to be in that position because you got those points ahead of a lot of other people. And if you do have a bad game week 2, it wouldn't matter as much because you've obviously got that gap between other players already there. So I think, yeah, it is good to have a great start in game week 1. But again, it's not how you start, it's how you finish in fantasy. But still, only one blank, and that was from Gordon, is pretty good, 8 out of 9. So yeah, good work still on that. So yeah, on that note, guys, obviously I will show my game week 2 team now, just to show you what it looks like and what my plans are, hindsight for game week 2. So bear with me while I switch over obviously everything, and we'll see what we have in store for the team. So here we go, guys. This is the game week 2 team so far that I have lining up. So we've got Flecken, who has a difficult fixture against Liverpool. Obviously, because I've got 2 goalkeepers up on the same team, I have to play Flecken anyway. Back through, we've got Pedro Porro. He's got Everton. Kwanzaa's got Brentford at home. Burns got Bournemouth away. So yeah, there is a bit of iffy fixtures there. But I'm waiting to see how Spurs play. And obviously a Pedro Porro because he does show attacking threat. Obviously with Kwanzaa, it's a bit uncertain whether he plays 60 minutes or not, due to the tactical change that obviously the manager did today, which affected his clean sheet. And obviously Burn, who's got Bournemouth away. Maybe a clean sheet, maybe not for him. Moving on to the midfield, so we've got Saka, he's got Aston Villa, tough fixture. Bruno Fernandes got Brighton away. Diego and Salah both have Brentford at home, and Gordon has Bournemouth away. And then up front, we've got Solanke, who has Everton at home. Isaac, who has Bournemouth away. And on the bench, we've got Vardy Marson, who's got obviously Liverpool away as well. With Muniz, Robertson, who has Leicester at home, and Davies, who has the toughest fixture in game week 2, possibly against Man City away. So this is the starting 11, guys, and this is what I have in mind to do, because there is going to be some changes. There is going to be some bench players coming on, and you can already guess who those are. The only question is, who are they replacing in that starting 11? Because probably wondering, I have to sacrifice someone in that midfield 5. So the first player, obviously Muniz, he's definitely going to come on because he's got Leicester at home. And I am thinking of benching Gordon. He's got Bournemouth away. Now, it could be a wrong choice, obviously, because Bournemouth are without Solanke. That does affect their attack, but regardless, I don't think I saw enough from Gordon today for me to persuade me to obviously play him in game week 2. That could be a wrong decision. It could be not. But I do want to play Muniz, who's got Leicester at home. My second, obviously, plan is to bring Robertson in, which I did plan to do because he does have a nice fixture for game week 2 and 3. And I was thinking of possibly benching Kwanzaa, not because of obviously he didn't play enough minutes to get his clean sheet today, but he does have Brentford at home, and I don't know. I see Liverpool winning that game, but I also see them conceding at the same time. I've got a funny feeling they will, but they will go on to win the game, which I'm kind of hoping happens. But I am going to bench him regardless and play him because I could bench Burn and play Kwanzaa, but I'm not sure whether I want to do that. So it's whether I see Bournemouth scoring against Newcastle now. I'm actually saying that I kind of do. I might go back on that actually. I might play Kwanzaa. and bench Burn. So I'll be benching 2 Newcastle players, 1 attacking, 1 defending, but playing the triple Liverpool again, and maybe giving Kwanzaa one more chance to see if he plays 60 minutes or not against Brentford. It is a home fixture at Anfield, so that does give me some positivity in that, because it's not an away game. At least it's a home one, and obviously Newcastle, their form away hasn't been great in the past, so that is my thinking on that. So yeah, they're the 2 changes: bringing Robertson and Muniz in, the 2 Fulham players, and replacing them with Gordon and Burn, the 2 Newcastle ones. So that's the plans ahead so far. Obviously, that could change nearer the time, but that's what I've gone with so far. So let's talk about captain picks that I could go for. So there's obviously Salah, Solanke, Muniz, even Isaac as an option for captaincy. The one that's highlighting me most is probably Mo Salah. It's either Mo Salah or Muniz. And the player I'm more interested in captaining probably Gameweek 2 is probably Mo Salah. It's a home fixture at Anfield, so the fans are going to be up for it. The players are going to be up for it. And I need something to compete with Haaland if he is to do well in Gameweek 2, because they do have a nice fixture against Ipswich, I believe. So I do need a guaranteed player to counteract and balance the Haaland. So yeah, I think Salah's probably my captain for Gameweek 2 at this moment in time. I will put the vice on Muniz for the time being, but I think that's what I'm going with so far in terms of that. So let me just read a few more comments that you guys have in the chat. This is so. Dan says, "Do you see Bruno's tweet? He said sorry to FPL managers. He'll make it up." Yeah, I mean that's some good positivity, I guess, from Bruno Fernandes on that. Hopefully, he can. Yeah, does have Brighton next, so he's still got time to make up for it. I'm not reluctant to get rid of him, obviously, because he does have a nice fixture coming up, and I think he was a bit unlucky. It's not like he didn't play well. He did have chances to score. It's just it wasn't to be from that first game. But I'm hoping Man United do improve as the season goes on. Saul says Everton could get slapped away at Spurs. Yeah, they did lose pretty badly today. I was quite surprised. Sean Dyche's team didn't perform as well as expected. I thought Brighton, they played really well. 3 goal scores, I believe, from that: Adingra, Matoma, and Welbeck. So 3 different goal scorers there for Brighton. So yeah, it's a good start from Brighton. I was surprised at that, especially with the new manager now that Sir De Zerbi's left. Yeah, Brighton have gone on the front foot. I wasn't expecting Everton to not lose 3-0 though to them, and possibly depending on how Spurs play tomorrow, will depend on how they do. I think against Everton, but yeah, they're not looking great, Everton, at the moment. But it's obviously still early days. So guys, that is pretty much. I think that's pretty much it for obviously the knee-jerk reaction. We've spoken about how Gameweek 1 has done, and obviously we're looking ahead to obviously Gameweek 2, and that's the team on the screen you see there, and that's how I'm pretty much going to line up with at this current moment in time. Probably will change. I might have a little idea, or obviously more news on obviously players like Kwanzaa, whether he's nailed to start next Gameweek or not. But we'll see. Sol says best mids, circa 5 mil. I'm not sure what the circa bit means, but around 5 mil midfielders. I'll just have a look at 5 million midfielders. Well, to go on the top of it, there's we might as well start with the best one this week, and that was Onana. It was pretty open in that set piece where he headed the ball in. I believe all his goals that he scored are from headers, so he's never actually scored with his feet. He's all of them have come from headers. But yeah, he was completely unmarked. Antonio completely left him alone in that box, and considering he's the tallest player there on that pitch, or one of the tallest players in that pitch, and he was left unmarked, it does raise a few questions. But I did like the look of Onana in that game. I think obviously he transferred from Everton and obviously joined Aston Villa, so it's a good start from him. He is 5 million to 1% ownership, so he's a big differential if you did have him, if you're part of that 1%. Or up to 5 mil. I'll probably say up to 5 mil. Yeah, I'll probably the same thing. Midfielder in terms up to 5 mil. Oh no, there's not many that choices really of 5 million midfielders to go for. But I'll probably say from this game week 1, I'll probably say Onana as one of the best mids. Dan mentions who is with the guy of Brighton. But with the guy of Brighton. Oh, Matt's Wiffer. I'm not actually sure about. He did play 90 minutes though, and got the assist to one of the goals. But yeah, I'm not sure about. I know much about Matt Swiffer. But yeah, he is 5 million too. I suppose possibly. Yeah, possibly he is one of the guys to look out for. I think at 5 million, I'll probably say him, Onana, even obviously Kamada, who's fast there, as mentioned in the chat as well. The best 5 million midfielder too. But yeah, the fixtures will depend on as well what happens. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Thoughts on Dunk, same price as Kwanzaa. Yeah, I mean, Brighton, they didn't get many clean sheets last season, I think 3 or 4. And considering they got the first one against Everton, which you'd say last season, that's pretty hard to get a clean sheet against Everton, the way they played. But it's looking up. I think if they can discipline themselves in defence, Brighton, I think Dunk could be a viable option to go down. Just take a look at the fixtures, though. The only thing about I think Dunk would be like a rotated, obviously 4.5 million player, because obviously he's got Man United next, he's got Arsenal after that, and then he has a nice fixture against Ipswich at home in game week 4, which could be one you could possibly play Dunk in, and not the Forest at home, and he's nailed, I think, as well. So yeah, that's a good actually move from Kwanzaa if he isn't to play at least 60 minutes in Liverpool. I think Dunk, yeah, could be a way to go. And he has some aerial threat as well from set pieces, from corner kicks, Dunk. So he does have a little bit of attacking threat too for Brighton. How long do you think Semenyo will stay up top? They just bought a new striker. Possibly not long. If obviously Bournemouth have brought a new striker, he'll possibly will drop back to his original position where he was when Solanke was there. So yeah, obviously Bournemouth need another striker that is going to get the goals. And even though Semenyo did get one, obviously today, I still think they need someone else that can deliver more. I think for them, like obviously Solanke did for them. and Semenyo's kind of like a backup in case of obviously that happening. So yeah, we'll just see what this new striker can do for Bournemouth and see whether he starts in the upcoming game weeks for them. Mazaroy, an option at 4.5 mil. Yeah, the Moroccan player that obviously defender we signed for Man United. Yeah, he could be an option. He did play obviously the minutes enough. He played 80 minutes in that game. He could be an option to go for. Ten Hag likes the look of him. Bit of rotation, obviously, but if as long as he plays 60 minutes at 4.5 minutes, he could be another option in place for Kwanzaa as well. Again, I want to see how many minutes he does get in the next game week to make my obviously decision a bit more solid on that. But yeah, he could be another option to go for because Man United somehow do get clean sheets where you least expect it. And if I'm honest, I wasn't expecting them to keep a clean sheet against Fulham. Sol says Brighton could probably make two teams with how many mids they have. Yeah, they do have quite a selection of midfielders there to go for. I think that's similar with like Chelsea, the amount of midfielders they have too. But yeah, they do have like a B team of midfielders to go with. That could mean a lot of rotation though between those two, between the midfielder teams. The yellow is 5 million, but minutes risk. Yeah, that's the thing. You don't want to go for a 5 million player if he's going to be a minutes risk, which, as we learnt from Kwanzaa, that can happen. Just like that. Even though Liverpool got the clean sheet, he didn't play enough minutes. So yeah, we lost out on that Liverpool clean sheet if we didn't have obviously a Van Dijk or a Trent in place for that. Carvalho is at 5 million is not a bad shout if he plays. Yeah, again, he's another good player for Liverpool, especially with a nice fixture like an Ipswich one. You could possibly take advantage in. It's just if he plays, I kind of would like to know when he does play in games or not. But I think his minutes are pretty good if he does start. And then it's just solid cheers. You're welcome, animations anytime. And so it says, what are your thoughts on the bonus point system? I haven't really looked at obviously the new obviously rules on the bonus point system, but yeah, I did realize it did change a bit obviously before. But yeah, I quite like the way it is structured at the moment. Yeah, I think the new bonus point system seems to be working all right. I mean, the way it obviously worked this game week, it seems to be the right players got the right points, I think, in terms of statistics. But yeah, I think the bonus point system does still work efficiently. Oh, sorry, you gone to Brentford. It's hard. I haven't been keeping up really with the obviously signings, but yeah, Carvalho. Yeah, is at Brentford now, not Liverpool. Sorry about that. Andres Pereira, same price as Emma Smith-Rowe, and it's better for minutes. Fulham decent fixtures. Yeah, Fulham do have a nice run of good fixtures. Hence why I have Muniz and Robertson in my team because I like they have a nice good run of nice obviously fixtures. Not really any difficult ones because if I just check now, there's only really Man City, which is their toughest one in Game Week 7. But before that, they got Leicester next in Ipswich, West Ham, Newcastle. Even that one at home could be good for them. Not Forest away after that. It's Game Week 6. And it doesn't really get tough for them until around game week 13, where the fixtures do get a bit more hard in between game weeks. So yeah, this could be a good chance to obviously get those Fulham players in and get their points, especially like Emil Smith Rowe. Where's Bruno's tweet? I'm sure it is somewhere, James, but yeah. I mean, Bruno Fernandes does comment on these, but whether he obviously deletes them afterwards, after he's mentioned it, I'm not sure, but it's definitely somewhere on Twitter. But yeah, I think on that note, guys, I will wrap the stream up. Obviously, thank you guys for watching so far. It's always appreciated. And thanks for all the comments in the chat as well. Don't forget, guys, to obviously join the league, the mini league that we have set up. It is in the description of this video, and it's also below me in the overlay. So it is D0 or DO0PND if you do want to join the mini league, and obviously our social media is above on the overlay too if you wish to follow us. But yeah, I think that's it for now, guys, until obviously at some point there will be a transfer tip video on Game Week 2 to obviously recommend who you should buy, sell, hold, and ignore like we used to do obviously last season. So that will be the upcoming video next. But until then, guys, obviously take care. Good luck for the rest of the game week. Hopefully you get a good starting rank. But obviously until we do our transfer tip video, have a nice weekend and see you very soon.